According to the National Electrical Code, it is permissible to mount disconnects or meter sockets to a switchgear enclosure, provided that the installation adheres to specific requirements outlined in the code. The primary considerations revolve around maintaining safety, ensuring accessibility, and upholding the integrity of the electrical system. Several sections of the NEC address this topic. Firstly, Article 408 pertains to switchboards and panel boards, offering guidance on the construction, installation, and general requirements for these types of electrical equipment. This article provides a foundational understanding of how switchgear enclosures must be designed and installed to ensure safety and compliance. Secondly, Article 230, which covers services, outlines the requirements for service equipment, including meter sockets and disconnects. When mounting these devices on switchgear enclosures, it's crucial to comply with the specific regulations detailed in this article to maintain a safe and reliable service entrance. Thirdly, Article 312 addresses cabinets, cutout boxes, and meter socket enclosures. This article provides specific rules for the installation and mounting of meter sockets and disconnects, including requirements for working space access and protection against physical damage. Fourthly, consider the general rules for equipment installation outlined in Article 110. This article encompasses a broad range of requirements, including those for working space around electrical equipment, guarding of live parts, and proper labeling. Compliance with these general rules is essential to ensure the safety of personnel and the proper functioning of the electrical system. There are several key factors to consider when mounting disconnects or meter sockets on switchgear enclosures. Firstly, ensure adequate working space. The NEC mandates specific working clearances around electrical equipment to allow for safe operation, maintenance, and inspection. The required working space depends on the voltage of the equipment and the presence of exposed live parts. For instance, NEC Table 110.26 AM provides minimum working clearances for various voltage levels. It is important to consult this table to determine the appropriate working space for the specific installation. Secondly, maintain proper guarding of live parts. Electrical equipment must be designed and installed to minimize the risk of accidental contact with live parts. This can be achieved through the use of enclosures, barriers, or other protective measures. The NEC provides specific requirements for guarding live parts in Article 110.27. For example, live parts operating at 50 volts or more must be guarded against accidental contact. Thirdly, use appropriate enclosures. The enclosures used for disconnects and meter sockets must be suitable for the environment in which they are installed. The NEC specifies different types of enclosures based on their ability to withstand environmental conditions such as moisture, dust, and corrosion. For example, NEMA 3R enclosures are suitable for outdoor use and provide protection against rain, sleet, and snow, while NEMA 4X enclosures offer enhanced protection against corrosion and are suitable for use in harsh environments. Fourthly, provide proper labeling. All electrical equipment must be clearly labeled to identify its purpose and voltage rating. This is essential for safety and helps prevent accidental contact with energized components. The NEC requires specific labeling for disconnects and meter sockets, including their voltage and current ratings. Fifthly, ensure secure mounting. Disconnects and meter sockets must be securely mounted to the switchgear enclosure to prevent them from becoming dislodged or damaged. The mounting method must be appropriate for the weight and size of the equipment and must be able to withstand the forces that may be encountered during normal operation. The NEC does not specify a particular mounting method, but it does require that the installation be performed in a neat and workmanlike manner, as stated in section 110.12. Sixthly, consider grounding and bonding. Proper grounding and bonding are essential for electrical safety and help prevent electric shock. The NEC provides detailed requirements for grounding and bonding in Article 250. When mounting disconnects and meter sockets on switchgear enclosures, it's crucial to ensure that all metallic parts are properly grounded and bonded to the grounding electrode system. Seventhly, follow manufacturer's instructions. Always follow the manufacturer's instructions when installing disconnects and meter sockets. The manufacturer's instructions provide specific guidance on the proper installation procedures and any special requirements that may apply to the equipment. It is also important to adhere to any listing or labeling requirements specified by UL or other recognized testing laboratories. The NEC contains several tables that are relevant to the installation of disconnects and meter sockets on switchgear enclosures. Firstly, Table 310.16 provides the allowable ampacities of insulated conductors rated up to 600 volts. This table is used to determine the appropriate size of conductors for the disconnects and meter sockets based on their current rating. Secondly, Table 250.122 provides the minimum size of equipment grounding conductors for grounding raceway equipment. This table is used to determine the appropriate size of grounding conductors for the disconnects and meter sockets based on the size of the overcurrent protective device. Thirdly, Table 430.52 provides the maximum rating or setting of motor branch circuit short circuit and ground fault protective devices. This table is used when the disconnect serves as a disconnecting means for a motor. Firstly, Section 408.3 specifies the requirements for the location of overcurrent devices in switchboards and panel boards. It states that overcurrent devices must be readily accessible and must not be located where they will be exposed to physical damage. Secondly, Section 230.70a requires that the service disconnecting means be readily accessible either outside a building or structure or inside nearest the point of entrance of the service conductors. Thirdly, Section 408.55 requires that all switchboards and panel boards be marked with the voltage and current rating of the busbars. This information is essential for determining the appropriate size of disconnects and meter sockets to use with the switchgear enclosure. It's also crucial to understand the specific requirements for different types of disconnects. Firstly, fuse disconnects contain fuses that provide overcurrent protection for the circuit. The NEC requires that fuse disconnects be sized appropriately for the load they serve and that the fuses be of the correct type and rating. Secondly, non-fused disconnects do not contain fuses and are used only to disconnect the circuit. These disconnects must be rated for the maximum current and voltage of the circuit they serve. Thirdly, circuit breakers are another type of disconnect that provides both overcurrent protection and a means of disconnecting the circuit. Circuit breakers must be sized appropriately for the load they serve and must be of the correct type and rating. The installation of disconnects and meter sockets on switchgear enclosures must be performed by qualified personnel who are familiar with the NEC and have the necessary skills and experience to perform the work safely and correctly. Improper installation can result in electrical shock, fire, or equipment damage. Regular inspections and maintenance are essential to ensure that disconnects and meter sockets are functioning properly and are free from defects. The NEC requires that electrical equipment be inspected and maintained on a regular basis to ensure its continued safe operation. Additionally, there are several common mistakes to avoid when mounting disconnects and meter sockets on switchgear enclosures. Firstly, do not underestimate the importance of proper grounding and bonding. Failing to properly ground and bond the equipment can create a shock hazard and increase the risk of electrical fires. Secondly, do not ignore the manufacturer's instructions. The manufacturer's instructions provide valuable information about the proper installation and operation of the equipment and should always be followed carefully. Thirdly, do not overload the disconnects or meter sockets. Overloading the equipment can cause it to overheat and fail, potentially leading to a fire or other safety hazard. Fourthly, do not neglect regular maintenance. Regular maintenance, such as cleaning and tightening connections, can help prevent problems and extend the life of the equipment. In summary, the NEC permits the mounting of disconnects and meter sockets on switchgear enclosures, provided that the installation complies with all applicable requirements. Adhering to these requirements ensures a safe and reliable electrical system.